trusted users. So as we're focusing on MineAlert Africa today, which maps mining activities across the continent and their proximity to protected areas, I think it's fitting that we start with one of our most impactful stories as MineAlert, which was the story on the Mabola Protected Environment. So the Mabola Protected Environment was proclaimed a protected environment, a strategic water source area in 2014. So it was proclaimed protected as a strategic water source area in 2014 because it feeds into 4 major rivers in South Africa. It became a case of controversy in 2015 when a company called At the Africa Ventures declared its intentions to mine coal in the area. In February 2015, MineAlert broke the story about these mining plans, and as a result, multiple civil society organizations approached the South African courts to try and prevent this from happening. After several court cases by these civil society organizations opposing these plans, the High Court rejected the approval of the mining plans in 2018. And this set a precedent for the status of mining in other protected environments under the Protected Areas Act in South Africa. Another one of our most notable impacts as MineAlert was our dossier of investigations on, I'm not sure if my screen is moving from your side, Alex, but I'm still on the drone image.
What we see, yeah, it's still the drone image, the impacts, and now you just moved. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, my apologies for that. I think my computer's a bit slow this evening. So the next story, which was one of our most notable investigations, was a 2-year data-driven investigation that revealed that nearly 60 billion in South African rands was being held in funds for the rehabilitation of mines across South Africa, but not being used because the mines had not been properly closed and had been left abandoned. So this was a result of 2 years of filing PIA requests, collecting, aggregating, and analyzing data on mine rehabilitation in South Africa. 6 years later, the government published a new national mine closure strategy to deal with the issue of abandoned mines in the country. And then one of our other most notable impacts as MineAlert was the launch of Mining Your Water, which is an additional platform on MineAlert. So this was work that began in October 2018 until the launch of Mining Your Water in August 2019. We had reached out to different stakeholders trying to find data on water use licenses that had been granted for mining activities. We received a database from government-affiliated water management agencies, as well as databases from the Department of Water and Sanitation. The process of cleaning this data took over 3 months, and as a result of that, we created a map with over 400 data points located in 8 out of the 9 provinces in South Africa. And what these data points map were all of these mining licenses in proximity to the strategic water source areas across the country, some of which are actually protected. And then finally, what we're currently working on now is our latest tool called Power Tracker. As we all know as climate and environmental journalists that to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, coal producers need to reduce their output from now until 2030. And for this to happen, the transition to renewable energy is now urgently needed. And as a response to this, Oxpac has launched Power Tracker to track the decommissioning of coal power plants in South Africa, as well as the rise of renewable energy projects in Mpumalanga, which is the country's coal region, and also where most of our coal-fired power stations are based. So Power Tracker is a mapped platform with current updates and information on over 100 renewable energy projects in South Africa in Mpumalanga. We also do investigations based on these renewable energy projects, as well as the energy transition currently happening in South Africa. And then how we became a part of MineAlert Africa Africa. So in 2002, Oxpackers became a member of the EIF's advisory board. And through this partnership, Manalit is the prototype on which Manalit Africa is based. I believe that the launch of this platform today is an example of how such cross-border collaborations can take journalism as well as media tools to the next level. I hope everyone enjoys the launch today, and I look forward to your questions, and I hope you will be able to interact with the map and enjoy everything that the EIF has put together for you today. If you'd like to reach out to Oxpackers, you can follow us on our social media platforms or email us any questions, tips, or information that you might have. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And this was really interesting, and it's really good also because we are just launching the Mine Alert Africa, but we have no project following up after this. Once the data is out there, there's so much more left to do from the data. And with the example of your Mine Alert that initiated this, we can see really well what could be the applications of the tool for some journalism projects later on. So thanks a lot for this. Jumping it now into Mine Alert Africa, I'm giving the floor to Pere, which was the really patient, extremely patient web developer for the project. That I take the occasion to thank for his service on the tool, and he's going to show us around the features that you can use in the tool. I'm going to post again the public link of the tool as well.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Alex. So I'm going to show you the big lines of the tool. Let me share. Can you see it?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, so this is the tool that is located in the EI forum website. We have several tools to zoom in, zoom out. You can also use the trackpad or the mouse wheel to zoom in, zoom out. At any point, you can print the generated map, clicking on this button here. And this tool is also to change the base layers. So you can have satellite data, or you have the typical OpenStreetMap and other background layers. I would suggest to use like dark colors so that the contrast with the mines are more evident. And here we have the list of the countries. We have, I think, 22 countries available with available data. And then we have the tabs of environmental that we will explore later. So, for example, let's say that we are interested in Botswana. We click in Botswana and we automatically get zoomed into Botswana, and we see all the mining licenses present from the data scraped in November 2023. These dates can be extended on the future so that the user at the end, probably if everything goes okay, we can explore other dates because the mine licenses change constantly. So what we have here, when we click in a country, several tabs are opened. Some of them are commodities. So here we have all the commodities present in the different mining licenses in Botswana. And we have the number of mines present for each of the commodity. This can be used to order, to sort the data. So we can sort by the surface, for example, and we see that the petroleum is the one most searched, the biggest surface, the natural gas, and so on. What we can do here is, for example, show me all the mining licenses in which natural gas is a searched commodity. So when we click in natural gas, we can see in the legend here on the top right, natural gas is assigned the color of random color of orange. So how can we check that this is correct? We click on one of the mines, and we see a very big mining license, this one, that has as a commodity natural gas. Is why this one is highlighted, because we selected from the table. And besides natural gas, also petroleum is searched. So there are many mines with many different commodities inside. So this is one of the reasons why this project was very complex to develop, and is also sometimes really a little bit complex to understand because you have many different commodities for different mines. And there are also mines that are overlapping. So for example, if I click here, it appears like the commodity is uranium for this one mine, but we get a pop-up saying there are two other different mines overlapping where you click here to open others. So now we can see that besides uranium, a mine with uranium, there is a huge also mine where we click it that is searching natural gas. So there are overlapping mines and overlapping information. Also here, for example, so it's just to say that it's a little bit complex sometimes. So let's say now that we are looking for petroleum and copper, so different colors are assigned to the different different mines. So let's see that we are interested in diamonds. Also, we can search here in this text diamond, and it appears diamond, and we can see also the other mines with diamonds. So other filters that are available are the license type. So in the case of Botswana, we only have 6, and we can ask now, let me show me the mines that have petroleum, copper, or diamonds, and that have a license type of prospecting license. So now some of the mines disappear because they don't fit all the conditions that appear here on the legend. And well, the data changes according to this mining to this license type that we use it as a parameter. The other information that appears is the top 5 owners. So which are the main owners of the mines present in Botswana? Only the 5th, the most important. This data is not available on the map to be used as a filter on the map for the moment. Maybe in the future, it just to visualize on the table. So this Carly Prince is the one that has more surface in the exploring in Botswana. So now we can ask, for example, show me, based on these parameters that have been used for Botswana, show me also for Congo, for example. So now I click in Congo, and we can see that the copper mines have the yellow color. So if I click in one, we can check that, yes, copper, it's one of the commodities searched. Petroleum, it looks like there is no petroleum, but sometimes there are super small mines, for example, this one. So maybe there is some mines looking for petroleum and diamonds. I'm not sure about that, but it looks like we can hide it, and yeah, it looks like there is no diamonds in that. In fact, we can diamond, okay, because every country has different names. So for example, in Congo, it's not diamonds, but it's diamond. So if we click in diamond, now appear on green, a lot of mines in Congo that are one of the commodities diamond instead of diamonds. So this is why I was saying that sometimes the data is really complex, and it has been difficult to work with. But okay. So the other thing that is interesting is to visualize the environmental, that is which mines are overlapping the several protected areas. When we click in protected areas, we see in a green color all the protected areas present in the countries that we are exploring. Just let me remove this one. Okay. So, for example, in Congo, we go here and we can show the mines that are present inside of the different protected areas. So now the mines, they have a red color, and the mines that you see here, for example, you are only visualizing the mines that are inside of a protected area. Here you have the list of the per country, which are the protected areas, for example, Central Kalahari, and the percentage of mining inside of Central Kalahari. If you click here in Central Kalahari, it will bring you to Central Kalahari, and you visualize that the 99.7% of the area there is assigned like a mining license. This is why you look it completely red. So it looks incredible, but it's like this. So when you click inside of a mine in a protected area, you see information about the center of the protected area that is inside that we click at. That you can explore. For example, here there are links to other web pages where they explain this protected area. And you also get information about the mine that you click at inside of the protected area, some of the information. Again, there are overlapping mines. This is what we are informing here. There are 2 other mines overlapping. In Central Kalahari, if you want to explore more information about Central Kalahari data inside, we click in more info. And we can see in form of charts the different commodities available. For example, natural gas, petroleum, it's covering 100% of the surface because there is a huge mining data about natural gas and petroleum. You can see it here. So most of the data is about that. Then there is the shale gas, it is only 56%, diamonds, and so on. You can explore. You can export the data in JPEG or PNG in order to make your own report and whatever. And you can visualize also all the other commodities present that are not so much present, so the percent is lower. We also have information about the top mine owners in the chart. So, and as before, you can visualize more information clicking here on show more data. So again, for example, if you want to filter by country, for example, only visualize the protected areas information in Cameroon, for example, you can click here Cameroon, and all the data that you have is only related to Cameroon. Again, you can click on one protected area and it will bring you to this protected area. And you can explore. And what you can do also, for example, for the mine licenses, is to label the mine licenses. For example, owner, for example, I change to owner, and now I see inside of this polygon the name of the owner or the commodities, for example, and I see what's going on here. What's the commodity exploited. So sometimes this can be really useful because you can quickly see here that here there is gold. Okay, I don't have to click inside of the polygon to know that here there is oil, here there is oil and gas, and so on. I don't know if there is some more time left, or we leave the questions for later.
No, we can leave the questions for the end, but if you still have a couple of minutes more, if you want to add anything.
Okay. So yes, this to say also that the protected areas can be symbolized for different parameters. For example, protected areas, they have a IUCN category, meaning that some protected areas are like more rich in biodiversity, so they will have a different category. So they are more important or less. So this is when you symbolize by parameter, you can see that the protected areas they have different colors based on the IUCN category. That, as I said, it means that how important, how valuable in terms of biodiversity and protection they are. So, yeah, I don't know, we could go to Ethiopia, for example, and visualize data from Ethiopia. We can also, for the mine licenses, to select a label again for the commodities. So here there will be coal, and yeah, I think that more or less I explained what there is. It's just a matter of playing a little bit around. There may be also still some bugs, but yes, it's this is what you can do with the tool. We can try to print the map, for example. If I click here, okay, it downloaded the map. That I'm not sure if you can see it because I'm sharing the browser.
Yeah,
You
no,
can
we
see.
can see it.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, this is the map that you created. And as I was saying, also you can export the table of the mining licenses. Just let me. What is that? Well, I cannot find it now. But yes, okay, export to Excel. So if you can see here, the Excel generated automatically with only the Cameroon data, the Cameroon protected areas, because this is what we selected before. But if we didn't use a filter, we would see all the protected areas available. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Pere. I'm guessing you will have a mining break after all this work. So hopefully we will get to work more on that later on. Before moving on with Jack, who's going to talk about the data sources that we've been using, just wanted to add a few comments. First is about petroleum and oil and gas licenses. This is not a category of data that we have across all of these countries. It just happened to be, in some case, in the data. So don't expect to get a full list of oil and gas licenses across the data. That might be something that we develop later on, but for now it's just by chance if there was any oil and gas licenses. Another point regarding the data, we only have data available. It's a snapshot as of November 2023, because it takes much longer to develop something that automates itself regularly and has different timestamps available. That's something that we are thinking of developing later on. But yeah, just these two comments. And now I will give the floor to Jack. So I told you Pere was really patient, but Jack was also pretty patient because he had to manage the scraping of all this data. And it's been a piece of work also. So I let him explain to us what he's been doing on that.
Hey everyone, so thanks for joining us. Yeah, so I think it's really important to think about where this data is coming from when you use the tool, because as everyone who's worked with data like this knows, there's kind of limits to what you can and can't find out through this kind of information. So the data sources we're using are government portals, which present their license data for different licenses that they have. So as Pele showed us, normally there's a license for prospecting, there's a license to mine, there's artisanal license mines in our data, but each country has its own laws and its own mining code. So you're going to have to kind of study each country individually to really fine tune those filters. And we were thinking about kind of trying to aggregate that data to make it more simple, but in the end, what you ended up with was a tool that's much less competent, and that's kind of why we've left the data set like this. Although Diamond and Diamond, so we could have merged. Yeah, so I think as well as like understanding or investigating where mining licenses overlap with protected areas, the tool's also really good to understand what governments are focusing on. So like how many lithium mines are there, how many copper mines are there, and you can, by looking at the application dates, you can also kind of better understand how that's changing over time. So the two data sources we're using are government portals. There's 22 of them, and some of you are probably already thinking like that's a limit in itself, and you're right. So our data is only as accurate as the data that the governments are publishing on their websites, and it's only as current as the data that as they're publishing on their websites. And that would be something to think about when we implement the time aspect of the platform, which will let you really see how the industry is changing by flicking through different scrapes. And we are scraping every 3 months at the moment. So you're going to be, in the future, you'll be able to go backwards and forward in time and see how the search and the mining of different resources changes over time. I think another thing that's important to mention is that the owners in our tool, the registered owners, a lot of the time these are shell companies. So when you're investigating, it's really important to make a note of that name and then look who the ultimate beneficiaries are, who owns that company, and that will really give you good insight too. Yeah, I think the last thing that's really important to think about when using the tool is with the commodities. When a country gives a company permission to mine or explore a mineral, sometimes they will just give that company a right to mine or explore lots of minerals, but that doesn't mean the company's actually doing that. So if you have gold and lithium in the same license, it doesn't necessarily mean there's a gold and lithium mine there. It could just be a lithium mine. And that's the same for prospecting licenses. So if just because a company has the right to prospect for lithium doesn't mean they are. Yeah, that's it. And then I think the last thing, which I'll pass you back to Alexandra, is on we have a feedback form which you can drop us any ideas you have while using the tool, any bugs you find or anything you wish that the tool could do that is currently unable to do. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, I think that's pretty much sums up everything. Maybe I'll leave some room for people if they want to ask us questions about how the tool works, or some things that might be unclear. Really, any question you have before we conclude, feel free to ask in the chat or by raising your hand. There's a question from Dorian, also an EIF member. Hello, with that tool, could we have access to PDF files that are the source of information for data featured on the licenses? I could say that no, but maybe I'm wrong, but let me know if I'm making a mistake on this, Jack or Pere.
So
but,
yeah.
yeah.
So if you have individual questions, it's best to talk to us because the data we get from the websites is really messy. We've had to do a few steps to clean it, and to filter certain information which we can't publish. So if you do have any questions about specific mines, then you can just ping us an email, and with the mine and its the country and mining license code, and we can send you anything you need.
Yeah, but I think Dorian's question was more like, can you get access to the PDF of like the mining contract really that was signed associated to them? I would
I
say
wish
no,
that,
but like a really good reflex would be to take the name of the mine and do an advanced search on Google with brackets to see anything that comes up. And the second thing to do would be to go on Resources Institute contract resources and try to see if you can find this contract there. There was another question. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of doing it. So you just take the name of the company, the license number, and for example, some countries like Congo have special portals where you can find that kind of information out too.
And Maxime requested other question. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Thank you and congratulations for the tool. I was wondering if the tool is in other languages apart from English, or if you're planning to do it.
To put it in other languages?
Yes.
I'm trying to think. Well, we have someone from the CCRP just joining, and I was wondering, is EIF available in French also, or other languages? That's something we could implement later on, perhaps. I think it would be good. But then the categories of data, I would say, they are so straightforward that you might not need that. But what we will do in any case is an online tutorial on YouTube in French, so that people can always go back on the video and they can know that owner means propriétaire, and so on and so on. Feel free to add anything, Jack.
Yeah, I think it just because of the amount of data we're having and the amount of languages that the data comes in already, it would be kind of impossible. But maybe something that could be done is just to translate the key functions of the tool, so at least people know where to go when they want to do certain filters.
Thank you. We had another question from Tabo.
Yeah, there is a question about if we are planning to publish the underlying data set, Alex.
So regarding the underlying data set, so we cannot make it openly available on the website for different reasons. The first one is the copyright credit for this data, because we can republish it for public interest. But there's also the idea that if we put this data out there in a raw format, it means researchers and journalists could use it, which is what we want to do with this data. But it also means that people that are analyzing the field, maybe prospecting for some mining licenses, could use them also for corporate purposes. This is why we will give access to the raw data, but we will filter the people we give it to. And the requirement for that will be that the person work as established journalists or researchers to avoid any misuse of the data. I hope that answered your question. Was it your question, Tabo? Or someone else from the chat?
No, sorry, it was my question.
Oh.
This is Bolz from Switzerland. Thank you very much for your work. And just a tiny follow-up question. Whom should we get in contact with if we would like to access the underlying database?
So we have a mail just down. There's a disclaimer down the tool, and it's our mail team at eifforum.org. I'm gonna post it also in the chat. And by the way, you can also contact us there to, as Jack explained, to send us some feedback if you have any suggestion to make the tool better, to really any suggestion you would have. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think I have my hand up.
Yeah,
Can you
we're
hear me?
listening. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I'm Thabo from Oxpackers. So what I want to ask, well, I won't ask strictly about the tool because I'm familiar to these tools, but what I want to know that from your side, what are you doing or what are the plans? Well, I see that there is so many people in this call, but then what are the plans to make sure that most people are on the ground and people maybe in the civil society space access this tool? How do you get your word out there? I will make an example with the tools that we have at Oxpackers. What I usually do when I'm on the ground, that's when I tell the people about these tools and show them how they work, because the disadvantage from their side is that they are not on these calls, and you will find that as journalists, some of the stories that we write, we don't actually explain how these tools work. Maybe you can mention a tool in a certain story, but we'll find that for an ordinary person or people in the civil society space or people that can help us with more information, if they were to have access to these tools, they don't know where to find these tools and how to use them. So maybe on your side, if you can maybe tell me what are your plans or what are you doing in order to make sure that the people that we need to actually have access in this tool, how are you reaching them?
Yeah,
Besides
so,
some of
yeah,
the
sure.
influence, yeah.
I
So
think,
yeah.
sorry, Alex, go on.
No, Jack.
Yeah, I think the key to these kind of tools is to have really good information online as well as in these calls, right? So we're going to have a really good FAQ, how to use it in text. This we can easily translate into lots of languages, and we'll do a video explainer as well to show exactly how the tool works, so that people who aren't in these calls can really take their time and watch the video while trying to use the tool. In terms of getting it out there, I guess that's something that the team will do organically, because a lot of us are working anyway, so we're well connected.
And to build up on what Jack is saying, with EIF also there was this idea since not so long ago, since last year, to open up the board and the governance of EIF to partner organizations that work as investigative units already in dedicated regions. So within EIF board, we have Oxpackers, as Andy Swara mentioned. We have also Senozzo, which is the West African partner for investigative journalism work. We have InfoNile as well. And the idea is that with the week passing by, the time passing by, we will incorporate the website into our partners' websites. Because EIF on its own, it's more of a professional organization. It's not a media. It's not made to count down the views that we get on the websites or anything. We are just like a feasible, like an intermediary between non-profit units and media partners. And so that's why not only having this on EIF website, but to incorporate it into the Oxpackers website, which is already done, the Synodzo website, which is upcoming, maybe InfoNile as well is going to feature the tool. That's going to mean that it won't be only an EIF project that benefits European journalists. It's going to benefit any African journalist that knows of Synodzo and doesn't know of EIF, knows of Oxpeckers and doesn't know of EIF. And that's really the approach we wanted to have with this tool. And we hope that just as whenever we will give some training, which we often do as an organization, we often give environmental investigative reporting trainings and so on. We hope that our partners are going to do the same as well. Any more questions? Yeah, just to conclude, if you want to know more about EIF, I'm also going to post the main website. It's quite ugly, to be honest. The tool looks better than the website, but we are rebuilding the website, so in a couple of weeks should be more pleasing to the eye. Yeah, Emmanuel, you raise your hand. Sorry.
Voilà. Bonsoir, je ne sais pas si vous me permettez en tout cas de parler en français.
Ouais, bien sûr, pas de souci.
Ah voilà, merci beaucoup de participer à cette space, à ces cadres d'échange au fait, qui nous permet de comprendre tout ce qui se passe dans le paysage, dans les cadres là d'exploitation de minerais, surtout en Afrique. Comme vous le savez aujourd'hui, la question de traçabilité cause encore problème, mais aussi la question d'évaluer les types d'impact social, économique pèse aussi énormément parce qu'aujourd'hui, avec tout ce que nous vivons, le permis d'exploitation ne respecte pas les normes au fait, par rapport à la passation de marché pour arriver à exploiter X ou Y carrière. Personnellement, je suis Emmanuel, je suis aussi un chercheur, et je suis enseignant et je milite pour la justice climatique. Et chaque jour au quotidien, on essaie d'alerter, on essaie de dénoncer tout ce qui se passe en Afrique, surtout, en tout cas, surtout dans la partie Est. Si vous voyez comment on essaie de passer le marché, que ce soit l'exploitation de minéraux, que ce soit même aujourd'hui avec les enjeux sur l'exploitation du pétrole dans les Virunga, les blocs gaziers sur le lac Kivu, tout ça, ce sont vraiment des marchés qui se passent dans les flous. Et ça va peser énormément sur les communautés locales parce qu'on n'a pas associé les communautés locales pour qu'ils arrivent à donner leur cahier des charges et pour arriver à expliquer même aux communautés locales quelle sera l'étude d'impact social, économique et environnemental. Et nous, en tant qu'acteurs qui militent pour la justice climatique, nous pensons que tout cela, en fait, ce sont des crimes environnementaux et ce sont des crimes qu'on doit condamner, que ce soit sur le plan des juridictions nationale tout comme internationale, parce que la destruction de l'environnement n'est pas seulement pour les communautés locales, mais ça impacte toute la planète, toute l'humanité. Et c'est pourquoi moi je pense, j'étais en train d'ailleurs de poser des questions dans le chat, quelles sont par exemple des garanties de mesures sur le plan sécuritaire pour arriver par exemple à protéger ces chercheurs, ces journalistes, ces lanceurs d'alerte, tous ces gens, par exemple, qui sont impliqués, qui seront impliqués, par exemple, dans cette étude et le reste, mais aussi sur le plan méthodologique, comment on pourra, par exemple, procéder pour arriver à asseoir vraiment une étude bien fondée, bien finée, qui relève exactement de tout ce que nous connaissons dans le paysage d'exploitation, que ce soit l'octroi des permis d'exploitation, que ce soit la passation de marché dans les cadres d'exploitation, que ce soit même la destruction, parce que je vis la dernière fois avec les entreprises chinoises qui étaient impliquées dans l'exploitation de l'or, surtout au sud Kivu. Il y avait des entreprises chinoises qui employaient des cyanures et toutes les rivières étaient déjà polluées et pourtant il y a des communautés locales qui consommaient ces eaux. Et du coup, on n'a même pas compensé ces communautés locales et les gens sont morts et aujourd'hui, on s'en fiche, on s'en passe. On a vu par exemple dans les Kasaï avec la rivière Kasaï qui était aussi polluée et les gens sont morts. Il y a beaucoup de ménages des personnes qui étaient mortes. Et moi, je pense, en tout cas, on doit continuer à fouiner, à chercher, à alerter, et voilà. Moi, je n'hésiterai pas aussi, par exemple, de rejoindre toute l'équipe pour arriver à avoir des informations finées, arriver aussi à défendre quand même les communautés locales et à défendre aussi l'environnement pour que vraiment on puisse asseoir des lois, des juridictions même environnementales efficaces et contraignantes. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Emmanuel. Je vais traduire très rapidement ce que vous avez dit, peut-être pas mot par mot, mais au moins un maximum de ce que vous avez dit. So Emmanuel was asking what can be the security context to when you work on these issues, knowing the risk that can be involved. He's a social and environmental expert working mainly in East Africa, and he's been the witness of many cases of environmental pollution caused by mining. And the main question was how to work on that. There were questions within questions, so I'm gonna reply now in English just about the main aspect on security, what can be done. I'm going to answer in French and then quickly in English after. Et pour répondre à ta question, Emmanuel, pour l'enquête environnementale, il y a tout un problème de méthodologie de sécurité, de méthodologie en ligne et de méthodologie sur place aussi. Parce qu'il va y avoir la question des intérêts de l'État quand elle se pose. C'est-à-dire que si on travaille sur un géant minier qui est lié à des puissances, à des gouvernements puissants, ça peut poser des problèmes de sécurité importants pour les personnes sur place, mais aussi pour les journalistes qui travaillent sur ces sujets-là. Donc, il va falloir privilégier le fait d'avoir recours à l'encryption, utiliser Signal plutôt que WhatsApp, utiliser des VPN, utiliser PGP par mail pour pouvoir échanger des informations, voire utiliser des plateformes de whistleblowing. Il y a tout un corpus de ressources qui peut être utilisé par des journalistes aussi bien que par des experts comme vous. Et je pourrais vous envoyer quelques liens et quelques ressources qui peuvent vous aider. Et d'ailleurs, il est possible de rejoindre EIF en tant qu'expert aussi, donc je vous invite à ce qu'on se mette en contact pour en parler plus en détail. And for the rest of you, my answer was mainly everything that you would hear usually for protecting whistleblowers and journalists alike when you're working on an environmental investigation to use encrypted communication channel, open source tools as well, to use platforms like global leaks, PGP, mail encryption, Signal. These are some really basic stuff, but for the online part. And then having a really detailed field trip plan that is laid out for whatever it is that you're going to go and investigate. But it's a work on its own. After the data work, you have the security work. I see we have Eli from the OCCRP in the call, and I'm assuming at the OCCRP they must have extended experience into facing security risks for investigations. We add some as well, of course. And we have a last question. Manuela Romer, does your platform also document threats in Mauritania? Is Mauritania part of the mining tool? I think yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once you go on the tool, you can select the country that you wanna look into, and you can select Mauritania. Yes, Emmanuel, it's doing also Congo.
Oui.
Oui. Depuis la plateforme, vous pouvez voir ça. We are getting to the end of the event, so I'm warmly thanking And this was Jack Perret for making it to the call and participating to the development of the tool. And I hope that you're going to make the best of the uses that you can. We will surely do so ourselves later on. And don't hesitate to reach back to us for any comments.
Yeah, and give us any feedback, because I know what these tools are like, and I know that sometimes just small things can make them very difficult to use. So the more you let us know what's going on and what you're looking at and what's not working for you, or what you wish the tool could do, the more we can like tweak it and make it better for you in future editions.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
You know, bye.